Good morning again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and another very merry, stupid o'clock to you all. So, folks, we are going back to that awful world again, known as the JRC, better known as the Judge Rotenberg Center. And we are going back to what is turned into a three-parter. Let's hope it doesn't turn into a four. Regards to Anna Konikova and ABA and PBA in regards to how they all intermingle. Now, you will find the link to this particular blog right there in the description box. You're also going to see other pertinent links to the Stop the Shock campaign, such as Autistica Hoya's massive archive with all the documents, testimonies, YouTube videos, you name it, we got it, all listed and compiled in one area. We also have templates. Folks, these templates are literally made up so that you can literally just type your name, click on your senator, and get it sent to them directly. This is to stop public funding of the JRC, to stop improper restraint and other such punishments. We have a few other templates as well. Just click on the link, guys. Get it done. It is the most important 2 minutes you're going to spend today. Also, we have the Evers important change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. If you haven't signed it, get on it. Alright, so going back to the blog here. There's my mouse. A few disclaimers. When we were talking about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and sometimes catch clips of video surveillance video footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you have young children present, please use your headphones, guys. Also, it is, let's see here, 3:32 a.m. in the morning. Nobody should be up right now. But I'm insane, so there's that. If I happen to mingle any sentences or words absolutely horribly, my apologies in advance. Okay, so without further ado, we're going where we stopped off yesterday. Advocates contend ABA, PBS, sorry, it's PBS, not PBA, and JRC. Just in case you're wondering, that's us. That's actually autistic folks. It's me. It's Alex. Well, Alex Plank. He runs Wrong Planet. I will introduce you guys someday to Wrong Planet. It's pretty cool. It's like our Twitter, as it were. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Advocates with contend ABA, PBS, and JRC. Advocates need to scrutinize all ABA or PBS programs. We do. We really do. Whatever it has to do with us, we scrutinize and analyze it within an inch of its life. We have really found that we've had to, because so many people has tried to pull the wool over our eyes. Even people who are not as blatantly just out and out evil like the JRC, who tries to get one over on us, it's massive. But anyway, I'm getting off topic again. So if a board-certified behavior analyst, BCBA, or any other kind of behavioralist tells a father that punishment is important, not only as a last resort, but to control all sorts of unwanted behaviors, then 2 neon red flags should light up in his brain. Thank you. Thank you For any parent, when you're listening to a form of treatment, if they tell you punishment is involved, then it's not treatment. Treatment should not involve punishment. That should immediately light up. Not just what the hell is this thing lights up in your brain, but the pseudoscience. Don't get me started on a pseudoscience rant. It's early, and I could probably go on all the way until it's time for me to clock in. You should have. Excuse me. He should save himself some time in the discussion and then search out another BCBA who practices true PBS deep down to its most ethical core. If she says her work is very positive because punishment is more effective in the event of emergency and because she's exhausted everything positive, but they just don't work, then the parent advocate is advised to question the PCBA anyway. Exactly! Exactly! And I'm sorry, you're going to have to forgive me for this. But I remain absolutely skeptical with a lot of parents when they say they've tried everything. Because when you start to question them on that, one of two things happen. They either clam up and start attacking, or there is radio silence. Now, probably in my case, because of my area of work in the past and as an advocate, I know about more than just PBS as an alternative to try. But still, every time they say that they try everything, I always wonder just exactly what is it that they have tried. A lot of these parents just blindly trust the doctors. And I hate to say it, but doctors, the medical model is fundamentally ableist. So they're going to throw pills at your kid, and they're going to have you try a whole bunch of crap to treat the symptoms without trying to get to the root problem. I got very, very lucky when I got older and was out of the school system to start to find doctors that would actually help me suss out the problem. Not so much when I was in grade school through high school. But moving on. Then the parent advocate is advised to question the BCBA anyway. Yes, question. Ask. For the love of God, this is your child. Do you want them traumatized for life? This isn't a game. People who are supposed authorities take advantage and bleed parents dry all the time. Doctors don't make money off of patients who are well. Always remember that. Thoroughly before deciding whether or not to hire her, she should show him a crisis management training certificate and explain precisely how she can de-escalate all parties involved at the first sign of trouble. She should explain how she uses the nonlinear methods as included above in this preface. He should ask her to discuss how she uses DRI and DRL rather than the better known DRO. If she cannot elaborate upon these initials, he should beware of a lack of training in the complete array of non-aversive methods. In that event, a single red flag in his head should warn him to proceed with caution. Parents, question everything. Question everything. I can't emphasize this enough. We can't just trust these doctors and so-called experts blindly, especially self-dictated Google experts who will tell you if you take this powder, your kid will be cured. Just saying. Age of autism, just saying. By the way, folks, if you ever want to get a giggle at some complete pseudoscience fuckery? Take a look at the website Age of Autism sometime. Moving on. She needs to explain how she obtains positive instructional control with no dissent from the child, and how she reacts when her pupils tell her to leave them alone. He should insist she always respects his child's dignity, and ask her to cite the case law that granted everyone the legal right to autonomy, especially people with disabilities adjunted as incapacitated. I can. I can. Yeah. Allergies. If she speaks with roundabout jargon that indicates a faith in Skinner's unproven determination, don't walk, run. His belief that the true cause of behavior cannot be discovered when some other branch of psychology imputes the free choice of a mind as a phenomenon that generates behavior completely inside the thinking person. Again, don't walk, run. Then he should ask her why the notion of relative freedom cannot fit into Skinner's philosophy of radical behaviorism, and why the verbal behavior of behavioral psychologists cannot absorb the words of the U.S. Supreme Court, which banned us from shouting fire in a crowded theater whenever we feel the urge to do so, even though we do possess the freedom of speech. Then he should ask her whether or not behaviorism is a cult, a religion of science. Boom. Because these behavioralists, a lot of times, they always assume incompetence. Always, all the time. Even with someone like me, who's pretty good at faking it until she makes it, if you know what I mean. Even me, it's bleh, I'm not awake. Moving on before I go on another rant. If he does hire her, then he should attend or audio-visually record all sessions until she earns a respectable amount of trust. That's right, folks. Never, ever, 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 ever put your kid in a place like the Judge Road Merck Center, where they have 24-hour access to your child in a way that you are not able to see it. That is too much trust for any parent to give any institution, regardless of intentions. That gives someone way too much power over your kid. Just saying. He should always grant his child the right to dismiss her, whether he's verbal or not, young or old, capable or incapable of an abstract power of reason. They should comply with an obvious whiff to get away from her if he cries just before she walks in the door, resists her moves, squirms in discomfort, wants to go back to his bedroom, struggles to stay in his seat, or wants nothing to do with forced eye contact or keeping his hands perfectly still, because she has the equivalent right to accept him or not as a consumer of the services she provides, and because he is the primary stakeholder in the outcome of her interventions, the one whose voice is the most important among all the voices of his child study team. At all his behavior change meetings, he ought to sit at the head of the table, and then as she sets the plan into motion, if he dissents, for goodness sake, she should stop what she's doing, go home, get back to the drawing board, and design a plan he can enjoy. If this approach isn't good enough, then an adult peer advocate with the same disability or disorder as the child should sit in the secondary seat at the next meeting. I've done quite a few of those. I always end up suggesting person-centered planning. What I have the most experience with, being someone who has been a consumer that has operated very well off of person-centered planning and continues to do so, but continues to see its success time after time after time, because person-centered planning puts the person with a disability in the driver's seat. Yes, I had as my advocate my mom, again, because she's an intelligent human being, but I ultimately had the ultimate nay or yay power. And yeah, this gives it the opportunity for us to control, and it kind of makes your team work for you, if you know what I mean. They had to go and pull up some different ways of doing things in order to help me that were outside of the box because I was not about to do ABA, and my mom was sure as hell not going to agree to it. But moving on. Pro JRC advocates. JRC has created a lever strategy by bypassing the dissent of their children to convince a judge to substitute his judgment or a therapist's judgment in lieu of the children's judgment and allow them to shock the hell out of them. But their main network of support is a group of vocal parents who've signed up their children for shock. Yeah. I still can't comprehend how you can be a parent and sign your child up to be shocked within an inch of their life. The resources are out there, what these folks do. Maybe not in the detail that we've gone over on this channel, but it is out there. The Andre McCollins video is out there. And still, you have these parents, having seen that video and what they do behind closed doors, still adamantly defend what they're doing. I don't understand. Moving on. Anti-JRC advocates. Yeah, we're a massive group, by the way. The advocates and attorneys opposed to JRC have spoken well. Highly noteworthy organization called Mental Disability Rights International, MDRI, which investigated the JRC and appealed to the United Nations to label them a school of torture rather than a treatment center. Ahern and Rosenthal, 2010, and the UN responded favorably. Mendez, 2013, page 85. Again, we've looked at that before. Apolitical shock scientist Iwata and the Association for Behavior Analysis International gets political. Oh God, these guys again. These are the assholes who think not only should the Judge Rotenberg Center do it, but schools around the world. And not just on autistics, but people with ADHD, Down syndrome, Angelman syndrome. You all get a device like that anywhere near my nephew. Me and you and me, we're going to have some words. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. But anyways, Iwata, 1988, page 150 through 53, advised his ABA followers against any direct involvement in the politics of shock. The subject was too hot to handle. Their advocacy would block them from working as shock therapists. Besides, he argued, it wasn't necessary for scientists to promote shock. All they need to show is how effective it can be to solve behavioral problems. Effective? You mean using the trauma idea? Let's traumatize them to the point that they're catatonic. Fabulous. Good job. God, these people are insane. The client advocate, the parent, or if necessary, the court, will select for us the option of adversive contingencies. So the world's largest network of ABA professionals has not been listening to Iwata, their ABC leader, because JRC co-sponsored the May 2015 San Antonio Convention, and ABAI committee approved its sponsors as being aligned with their mission. Ah, so that's how you got them in your back pocket. You bought and paid for them, didn't you, JRC? Why am I not surprised? And then you say, well, they're aligned with our mission, and they're lining your pockets. Money, 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 folks. What did I tell you? It's all about the money. They did it before in 2013. For how many years has their annual convention program book committee began approving JRC programs? The blogger does not know yet. By the way, they're still doing it as of last summer. Last summer in May. I always wondered how they managed to get into that convention, and now it makes sense. The disabled are autistic peer advocates and the JRC survivors. In his aforementioned list of advocates, Iwata didn't participate another kind of advocate for the victims of shock. It's not the parents, it's not the so-called court-approved client advocates, nor is it the justices who send them away for shock. It's neither the ABA experimentalists nor their BCBAs. Who is behind the powerful movement still fighting to close the JRC? ABA must reckon now with the disabled and autistic self advocates, peer advocates, system change advocates, and on top of the list are the JRC survivors. Some have already spoken poignantly over the years. Please listen next to Anna Kosovkaya. From out of the batter's box, she steps up to the plate. So this is the preface. And we'll probably stop there. Yeah, it's going to be a four-potter. I should have freaking figured. But let me give you the introduction. As she recounted her history, Anna Kosakova was 28. She was a JRC client between the ages of 17 and 19. She did not get shocked, as she tells it, but she sat there in class, unable to help, forced to remain silent as she heard screeching devices and the screams of her classmates. For as she says, they are not allowed to move the conversation away from the staff. They are not allowed to whisper. Now at last, with her voice to the public, perhaps if she chooses to take a lead, she shout her voice to help the students with her newsworthy eyewitness account of what happened behind the walls of the well-secured JRC residencies and the school while she attended them. Miss Kozakaya is a Papillion story of escape, except unlike Henriette Charest, Anna was never convicted of anything, wrongly or otherwise. And we're only guilty of one sin, folks. That's being alive while disabled, according to these people. Well, not this blogger, obviously. You know where I was going with this. Shut up, I'm tired. Spanish has a word with no satisfactory infinitive-only English translation. Aguantar signifies to suffer the pain, to endure and to bear the suffering of the slings and arrows that offend us. In all my 55 years, I have never heard told such a powerful account of Aguanta y Escapa, which she granted me in our Facebook Messenger interview. So I dedicate my contribution towards Anna's work, foremost to her, Butterfly, Papillion, La Mariposa, and then to all her peers, the former and current students of the JRC, those disabled children and adults who were forced to suffer the powerful electric charges running through electrodes fastened to their limbs, and to those there who did not get the shock treatment, but sat there aghast at the injustice they heard. Lastly, I dedicate my work to those who allegedly died. There is no allegedly died. We have 6 dead folks. 6 dead. While under the care of his institution's personnel, and to their grieving families who must live in the aftershock, stressed out in trauma, in memory of their children past, never to ever see them again. Okay. Escape from the Rotenberg Center. Individuals. Speaker Anna Kosakoya of Facebook. Interviewer Dave Jersey of Facebook. People Anna spoke about. Therapist 1 at Hospital 2. Therapist 2 previously from Hospital 1. School 2 staff member. JRC tour guide. Intake interviewer and second case manager. I actually think we'll get through this, guys. Anna's first JRC case manager, a JRC staff member, a JRC psychologist, Anna's grandmother, mom, dad, and granddad, Anna's home instruction teacher, Jennifer Masumba, shock recipient, Andre Collins, JRC shock recipient. Okay, the report. Okay, so this is from Anna says, I hate JRC. I was at JRC in the past, and I'm still very upset about it. I saw the group on Facebook talking about JRC. Dave, were you a resident there, or were you given the tour? It's good to hear your words of support against JRC, Anna. Thanks. Anna, yes, I was a resident there, and yes, I was given the tour. I remember it was Y who gave me the tour. I'm not sure if she's still working there, though. I remember she didn't show us everything, just a few classrooms and the big reward store. And during the tour, I saw a client on the board. She stopped by a classroom and a client was tied to a board. He asked if he can get off. She replied, Not yet. You have to be completely calm before you can get off. Not yet. You have to be. Then they tried to the mitt jacket on me during the tour and explained to me and my mom that when clients are violent, they get put in it. They told her they only keep them in until they calm down, and then they are released as soon as they were calm. Yeah, that's not how it works at all. Dave, oh, I'm saddened to hear about your experience with JRC. When you received the tour, was this before you were a resident there? And it was a tour before I lived there. The family assesses JRC. And I was living at home back then. That was before I went to JRC. It was my grandmother's idea for me to go to JRC because I was on home instruction and my grandmother wanted me in school. One day I was going through a drawer at home and I found a JRC packet. It was stashed away in a drawer at home. I found it. I was curious to see what it was, so I looked through it. Then I showed it to my grandmother and she judged the place by the pictures in the packet. She was saying it looked like a great place, and she thought it was the correct school for me. It looks like hell to me. Sensory hell. I would have took one look at that place. I'm like, Mom, no. My mom would have took it one place. She'd be like, what in the special level of acid trip 60s hell is this? I'm pretty sure. Something along those lines. She called up my mom at work and told her, we have good news. I think we found the right school for Anna. And my mom asked what school this was this. My grandmother told her. Dave, you didn't want to go in the beginning. Anna, no. She, my grandmother, was judging JRC by the pictures in the JRC packet, the one that was sent to us. Something was telling me it might not be good. The pictures look pretty in the packet. Maybe to some, I guess, but all that pastels. I didn't want to go, but then one day my grandmother showed the packet to my home instruction teacher and asked her opinion of the JRC. The home instruction teacher said it looked nice. And then the home instruction teacher one day asked me to write down in a notebook the reasons why I do want to go and the reasons why I don't want to go. I wrote everything in the why I don't want to go more than the why I want to go. I stated the food might not be good. I stated maybe I won't like it there. I stated during transportation they might put something on your legs so you don't run away, and so on. Then she called my grandmother in and told her that she asked me to write down reasons why and why I didn't want to go. And she told her I gave good reasons for not wanting to go. Dave says, I see, the teacher was supporting you in the beginning? Anna, no. I was on home instruction for a short time, and she was the one providing it. Dave said, so the teacher told your grandmother you had good reasons to not want to go? Anna, yes. My mom was trying to find a new school for me because I grew out of school too, the school I used to attend before JRC. This was before I even got to JRC. I wrote down the reasons as I knew what the JRC was going to be like before I even got there. Yeah, I would too. It looks like hell. It looks like an acid trip hippie idea of hell. Just saying. Dave, right. You had no idea what it would be like. I think I understand a bit about your home teacher now. Sounds like not a bad person, this teacher. Maybe the teacher is not an important part of the story, though. Anna said, then why did she tell me I should go? Dave said, oh, the teacher told you to go? Anna, she suggested it. She said the school looked nice because she saw the packet. Dave, I see. Then maybe not a good person or ignorant, but should have done some homework about JRC. God damn it, parents, do your homework. Anywhere they'd say to take your child. Do your homework. Do not trust these people blindly. When they look at us, they don't see people. They either see one of two things, animals or dollar signs or both. You gotta do your homework. For the love of God, do your homework before you send your child anywhere. Sorry about that outburst. Dave, a marking promotion is not enough to make a decision such as this. And I know, but a lot of parents do. They make decisions based on if something looks pretty enough. This is why I say you gotta do your homework, especially if your kid has a disability. You can't blindly trust these people. You just can't. Moving on. Dave said, yes, I can see you seem intelligent. Anna, just because the pictures in a book might look nice doesn't mean it's like that inside. And you never actually know how it's like inside until you go there. Dave, the same for the current JRC website? Yes. Dave, thanks for your advice. Anna, the website looks pretty. They show prom, water slides, and all of that on it. Dave, I have no idea what it's like. Anna, inside JRC? Correct. I was never there. I believe only the residents and former residents can say best what it's like there. Anna, it's nothing compared to what I thought it would be like. The Mickey Mouse conference room intake, the pre-admission tour. Okay, the minute they would walk me into a room with Mickey Mouse covering it, that would have been, all right, I'm out. My mom would be the same. She doesn't like anyone to do that condescension crap down to me or to treat me like a child. So we would just be hands in the air. We're out. Bye. Just saying. Dave, can you tell me about your first day? Anna, yeah, I remember why asked me what I thought about coming there. Dave, I see, like an interview. Anna, yes, and she showed us one classroom in the big reward store. We didn't get to see anything else. That should pull up red flags. If all they're doing is showing you two places, yeah, that should get your hackles up. Some we didn't get to see anything else, and then after she gave us a quick tour of the JRC, she takes me and my mom back to the Mickey Mouse conference room and talks to me. She asks me what I think about coming there. Dave, the Mickey Mouse conference room? Exactly. Anna, yeah, it sounds unusual, surreal. Anna, the reason they called it that was because they had a lot of different Mickey Mouse toys there. They were all over. I think they decorate the rooms like that to make the rooms look attractive to parents. It's insane. You're talking to a 28-year-old and you're going to put them in a Mickey Mouse room? Dave, what did you answer to her question? Anna, I told her I wasn't sure. Dave, did she try to convince you to go? Anna, yes. Dave, how? Anna, she told me something like, I heard it at home, it's pretty boring. Would you like to come here and make some friends? She said if I came there, I could make friends. Dave, did you want to make friends at the time? Anna, yeah, I did. Dave, I see. It's not your fault if you said yes. Anna, why not? Dave, you were misled. Anna, because I didn't know what it'd be like inside, right? Dave, right. Anna, is that what they do to all the clients? Do they mislead them like that? Do they promise some things like, oh yeah, they'll make friends if you come here, stuff like that? Dave said, I don't know. You are the first client I have Texas with except Jennifer Masumba a little. Andre's mother said she had no idea when she signed him in that they would torture him. Jennifer is a JRC shock survivor. She spoke on camera during the JRC CBS Evening News report. Andre McCullens is the former student whose mother showed the JRC on his behalf. They received an undisclosed amount in settlement with JRC people. This Fox News report contains the courtroom video showing of his 31 shocks in one day. We've gone over that video before. I never signed up for him to be tortured, terrorized, and abused, Cheryl McCollins told the jury. I had no idea that they tortured the children in the school. And as we all found out, it gets worse. Had Andre also escaped JRC under his own willpower by way of a hunger strike? Shane Neumeyer, who witnessed the trial in court, reported, Mr. Novotny, presenting Dr. Price to questioning with the facts that Andre's condition had continued to deteriorate, that he had become unresponsive and dehydrated, and that he had stopped eating. All things that witnesses agreed were true based on the record. Dr. Price further confirmed that the only reason Andre had been transferred to a hospital for treatment was because Andre's mother had insisted on it herself and had in fact come to the facility to take her son to the hospital. Now that's what a normal parent does. Anna, well, I explained to my mom during the interview that if a client got restrained too many times at JRC, they go on skin shock treatment. I remember I heard her saying that. I was in the room when she said that. I assumed that maybe why I thought I didn't understand what they were talking about, but I did. Dave, did I know you could hear the shock talk? Anna, yeah, I was sitting right across from her, and my grandmother was there too. How old were you then? Anna, I was going to be 17 the next month. During the tour, they didn't show us a lot though. Just one classroom and the big reward store. Dave, what else did Y tell you about the shock and other things? Anna, nothing. She just said if a client got restrained too many times at the JRC, they go on court-approved skin shock therapy. My mother didn't say anything. She just shook her head as if she was saying okay. Your mom shook her head up and down like it's an agreement side to side, like a no. Anna up and down. Oh my God. Dave, did your mother and grandmother already know about the shock? Anna, I am not sure. The packet didn't say anything about it. But why told them about it. I don't know why she would tell them in front of me, though. Dave, do you remember your grandmother's reaction? Anna, she was just sitting there, listening. I remember her telling them, Anna is very eager to go to school. Dave, remember even if you agreed with after you knew about the shock, nobody knows what it's really like until they feel it. Anna, but my mom probably thought I would never need to be on them. I think that's why she shook her head. Dave, I see. She was in some kind of denial. Anna, yeah, I think so. Dave, she thought you were well enough to be caved to not ever get shocked? Anna, yeah. And that's not how torture devices work. They will come up with reasons. Dave, and did you have a chance to respond to the shock talk? Anna, no. Dave, nobody asked you how you felt about this news. That's pretty typical. Nobody asks our opinions. This is why we have to shout from the rooftops, by the way. Because most of the time, people don't care about our opinions on ABA or, well, anything. Moving on. Anna, no. I don't really know what those were until I got there and saw other clients on them. All they asked was how I felt about coming to JRC. Dave, but you heard about the shock in the interview and they didn't ask your opinion then about the shock? Anna, no. They were just telling my mom about it. They explained when a client gets restrained too many times they go on it, and they also said it has to be court approved before a client can go on it. Dave, did I ask you how you felt about going to the JRC after or before the shock news? Anna, after, in the end. And when I said I'll have to think about it, I could tell they weren't satisfied with my response. They wanted me there for some reason. Sweetheart, that's because it's $285,000 a year per head. It's all about the money. Sick bastards. Dave, they are salespeople, and they use a well-studied marketing campaign to everyone, including 17-year-old young ladies. The blogger's assumption is that there has been a well-studied marketing campaign. He doesn't know this is a fact. If this is a fact. Anna, yes. It's not your fault. Anna blames herself often in these conversations, and she shows her readers exactly how she has been victimized by the ABA JRC into her own unique version of post-traumatic stress disorder. Anna, why did they want me there? They were calling pretty frequently, asking my parents when I will arrive. Excuse me. Dave, they have up to 1,000 employees. They want money. They believe that they do what they do is good. I don't know that they do. See, I don't think everybody there is drinking the Kool-Aid. I think some staff is there because they're interested in engaging in cruelty with no consequences. And I believe some are all about that money, especially the administrators. Just my opinion, but. And they believe, and I believe they believe that. Some, I do believe, have drank the Kool-Aid. But those high administrators, I believe there is often a history of other schools or places who expel students. JRC brags about their ability to take almost any student who cannot fit elsewhere. Was a decision made in your interview? What did you answer in the end when you were asked how you felt about going? The last thing I remember is Y asking me about how I felt about going. And then they showed us the nurse's office. I remember my grandmother saying, Anna can't wait to come here. Like, thanks for asking, Grandma. The nurse said, oh, good. I answered that I wasn't sure if I wanted to go, and I could tell she was not happy with my answer. Dave, do you remember how she showed she was not happy with your answer? Anna, her face didn't look happy, and she started to say, because at home it's boring and you don't have any friends. Would you like to come here and make some? Dave, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Can you use an objective saying to say what her face did look like, and in addition to not looking happy? If you don't remember, that's okay too. Anna, she didn't smile. She just looked like she wasn't pleased with my answer. Dave, okay, unpleased. Anna, she looked like she wanted me to say yes. Dave, that kind of reaction can influence your ultimate decision. Yeah, and it worked. Did you eventually consent to going? Anna, yeah, because of pressure. All right, folks, we're going to go into the second part of her interview a little bit later. We're going to go ahead and close out right now. Now, we don't get many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. Beat that algorithm. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.